It always ends up being a very cringe-worthy experience to hear actors talk about their projects when they have no idea what they're really about, and that is exactly what is happening with Unknown Nine Awakening, because the lead actress has claimed that she's never seen a game as diverse as it, even though she can't describe what the game's really about. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I think Anya Carlotta's actually a pretty good actress. I thought she did a really good job in The Witcher, of course. It's always had its inaccuracies. Season 1 was really solid, though, in my opinion. It got worse as time went on. She is still affiliated with it, but she did a good job when the show was actually half decent, and she's a gorgeous woman, in my opinion, which is why it was so heartbreaking to see her in Unknown Nine Awakening and them completely butcher her model because they had a lot to work with. But now, this actress, known for her role as Yennefer in the Witcher series, recently discussed her character and role as Haruna in Unknown Nine Awakening and claimed that she's never seen a game as diverse as it. This is like a running trend in Hollywood and the games industry. Oh my god, it's the first game to feature a black man that happens to be gay, or a woman that happens to be, a lesbian, or a in some cases, a handicapped individual in a fantasy role. Like, they always try their very best to spin things as diverse and inclusive as possible, like that's a selling point when it's not. If you just happen to make an amazing game and it happens to feature a character that is gay or a person of color, that will shine through in the final product. But we know these individuals at these companies want to just market it as the most diverse as possible, even though it's not a winning strategy. And now, instead of actually talking about what the game is really about and the maybe emotional arc her character goes through, she just yaps about how she's never seen a game as diverse, which may just be the talking points she was handed, though it's still not a good look. Now, speaking with the YouTube channel CG Magazine, she discussed her character, saying, "Haruna led you through this game, this world, and she is on a quest to avenge her mentor Reika, whose life has been taken by Vincent, and find out more about Unknown Nine," which is like the most generic description you could give for this game ever. I love when actors do sound truly passionate. They're like, "Oh my god, I know I can't tell you all these details, but like, here's a little hint, and here's like a little sliver of the story to come." But instead, it's just very cookie cutter. It's very PR statement. And she added, she has an innate power, a kind of like calling that's outside of herself. It's internal, but it's also about something bigger than herself that she can rely on. Just doesn't sound very excited. But in another portion of the interview, she discussed the game's diversity. She said, "I'm excited for people to hopefully feel empowered by this character who is so grounded, so inspired by like things that are outside of herself and bigger than her. I don't think I've ever seen that connection to a game as diverse as this, with that many voices and that kind of exploration. There are so many games out there that feature such extremely diverse casts of characters. And yes, I understand you're part of something, and maybe the diversity is an important part of this story and this world to you. But on the flip side, it's getting ridiculous when actors, actresses, directors, producers, writers, whoever boasts about how their product is the most diverse as possible when that's just not a good strategy. Again, it's like Final Fantasy 16, for example. Absolutely phenomenal game. My game of the year last year. Absolutely amazing. It happened to have gay characters like Dion, who is Bahamut. He happens to be gay. Do they shove that in your face in the marketing material? Did his actor spew about it in interviews? No. The character's simply gay. You accept it as you're playing. The storyline plays out really well and naturally. It's a great experience. It didn't ruin the experience at all, and basically nobody said anything about it that was negative, and we just said, hey, this is a really good addition, because it was done in a way that felt natural. It didn't feel forced. In a title like this, when you have actresses going into interviews like this, it does feel extremely forced. Like, oh, you should buy our game simply because it's a diverse cast of characters. Like, that's a ridiculous selling point, at least in my opinion. And of course, we hear this all the time now where it's like, oh my gosh, you have a character that's your ethnicity or your gender, and you can relate to them more, which I think is kind of narcissistic because I love to relate to characters, but not because they happen to be women or they happen to have a certain hair color or they have a certain eye color. I want to relate to a character and connect with that character because of something that is deeper than skin level, because they are compassionate, because they are enthralling, because they are smart, because they are brave, things like that. And that is how you should be marketing this character. Haruna is such a passionate individual who really doesn't understand the story that's about to unfold in front of her. But as you continue on, you're going to see this natural growth that honestly really warmed my heart. Like, that's all it would have taken, and she would have sounded a little bit more genuine. Now, of course, I've been live streaming a playthrough of this game, and it's fucking awful so far. And when I'm uploading this video tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'll be finishing the game. So far, it's been terrible. It hasn't been good, but she could have at least sounded a little bit more passionate and actually tried to sound like she cared about this. She's probably just reading from a script, but it's still not a good look because this will forevermore be remembered. She will be remembered as Haruna from Unknown 9 Awakening, the Sweet Baby Inc. game. I would love to know what Sweet Baby actually did to this game. We do, of course, know that Kim Belair and David Bedard were major individuals that were a part of this project. They did help write it, and I would love to see how they ended up ruining it. But it's clear as day that basically nobody bought this game, and this whole promoting the diversity angle didn't turn out well because the all-time peak was 2 days ago at 285. And we're talking about a Sunday afternoon on release weekend, and it is sitting at 215 people. And as you can see, the first day of release, Friday, it peaked at 285. Saturday peaked at 232, and it doesn't even look like on Sunday it's going to get to 232. Maybe it will, but we're talking about only a couple of hundred people here, and there's nobody watching it. 377 viewers right now. I had double that in one of my Unknown 9 Awakening live streams alone. So we're kind of wrecking this game at this point. No shocker, there are millions of gamers who are boycotting Sweet Baby Inc. titles and games made by activists and narrative consultation companies. And this is just the next title on the chopping block. So I will continue to keep my eye on this game to see if any of the other actors or actresses come out and make any statements about this title. Maybe we'll get Vincent's actor, who happens to be like the one villain in the game, and he happens to be a white guy. Maybe he'll go on about his white privilege and how he was honored to get his, ass absolutely beat by Anya in this game. I don't know. Not a very good look, in my opinion, to be boasting about diversity. It wouldn't shock me if he went into an interview and talked about white privilege. But as of right now, this actress is struggling to even describe the game, and then eventually resorts to claiming she's never seen a game as diverse as it, as if that is going to sell copies of this title. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.